Well, hello. My name is GAT, and welcome back to Caffeine, Victoria's Legacy. Well, last time we got the Master Espresso class from Mel, and that was pretty great. But now, we should be heading with our next, who we want to hang out with, you know? Okay, so we can get that, angry girl, or just head back to Taka Coffee House. You know what? I'm not gonna call it a day because that might just be like, no, we're just gonna do the next whatever. Let's go pay Oceane a visit. Oceane a visit. Osea. Comment down below. Oceane or Osea. Here I am, back at Mayoria Coffee House. I've been a really good student. I've actually asked Elisa to teach me some cupping skills. I hope Osea will appreciate it and not give me that look. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right there. She does not like me, even though she has a beautiful voice. I guess that's too much to ask for. What's too much to ask for? Fuck, I'm not... Her voice is so good, that British voice that hits you with the Let's see. Let's see if I can do it. What's too much for What's too much to ask for? To ask for a smile? What are you muttering about? I hope you're not thinking about weird things in front of me. I'm not. I look around the coffee house. It's emptier than usual. Not many customers today, huh? I'm not surprised. Given the news that just broke out, I have complicated feelings about it. What do you mean by complicated feelings? ... Osea doesn't reply. It seems that she doesn't want to talk about it. I couldn't quite gauge what her thoughts are. She definitely isn't scared like Alice, or oblivious like Elisa. I wonder what she's thinking. Alright, let's cut to the chase. Before we start with our coffee trading, have you had any luck with caffeine? Rah, 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 rah. Let's just do her voice like that. I think that would be more funner. Not much, to be honest. Coffee Girl tried teaching me caffeine, but we didn't have much progress. Coffee Girl? Just someone who I met at Coffee Academia. Well, there's Espresso Girl as well. Tried an espresso at Sparkwood, but nothing came out. No fireball, no spark. Wait, did you just say you went to Sparkwood Coffee House? You know there are rivals. This is gonna be like football. I don't want you seeing that bitch. Yes, I did. Is something wrong? Everything is wrong. You just told me you drink water from a toilet bowl. Hey, it wasn't that bad. Everything tastes alright when you enter your insensitive tongue. To be fair, the espresso shot tastes better than what I get at Sparducks. Then Sparducks must be located in hell. You really have a huge enmity towards Sparkwood, don't you? Which is perfectly reasonable. Coffee beans that no other coffee house wants to get dumped in Sparkwood. They add steamed milk and a lot of sugar to cover its deficiency, not to mention mixing robust coffee beans to lower their prices. Sparkwood Coffee House is the coffee that cuppers love, the imposter of coffee. Wow, you just... And you tell me you went there and ordered an espresso? How can you stoop yourself to such a level? Because I'm poor. They have nicer people and better You know what? Yeah. I'm gonna tell her flat out. Why not? I feel comfortable when going to Sparkwood. The baristas have a smile on their faces. They smile to conceal their toxic swell. They feed into your mouth. You're exaggerating. I wouldn't second guess other people's motivations. It's like you said, Sparkle Coffee House isn't the best thing to swallow. No, it's like I said, Sparkle Coffee isn't the best thing to swallow. All they care about is to make more money from people who have no sense of taste or smell. If you keep drinking coffee at Sparkwood, very soon you'll find yourself unable to appreciate the true beauty of pure coffee from the world's best coffee beans. And your odds of doing well in caffeine duels will diminish, so I would advise you to stay away from there, at least until you get your barista license. Alright, let's put that aside. Lift that kettle up. She's so mean. Let's see. I don't know what voice I want to do for her. I keep changing it up. With Alex, it's like, oh my god! Well, Lisa, it's like, oh. No, I don't know about Lisa either. That's the problem. I can't do girls, cause Constantine and Sir Alex, I can do that easily. Constantine's like, oi, blah, 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 blah. And Sir Alex is like, oh, shabba-dabba-dabba-da. Give me some water. You know what I mean? Cool and smooth. I can't do girl voices that good. Fuck, I don't know what voice to do for him. I might just give her a drill sergeant's, or a man's voice. I think it would be funny. Alright, lift up that, no, let's put that aside. Lift that kettle up. Lift that kettle up? Yes, you want to, I can't really yell. I'm gonna wake up people. Fuck, what voice should I do for you? Let me try a girl voice, an actual girl voice for her. Yes, I want you to see how to do a pour over. Pour water into the coffee filter. I do as she says. I lift the water kettle up and start pouring water into the filter. Do it slowly and evenly. Your pour should be like drips of water flowing out at an even pace. She says it casually, but it's proved to be difficult. The water comes out with a huge splash. I quickly lift back up, but the water stops flowing. I try again, only to witness another violent flow of water, nearly spilling out from the funnel. Stop. That's enough. Just as I thought, you simply haven't had enough practice. Passing the barista test with the pour-over technique requires at least 1,000 hours of pour-over practice. Your current posture suggests that you only have, 5 at most? The examiner isn't dumb. He'll notice straight away. So what am I supposed to do? I don't have 1,000 hours to practice pouring techniques before the test. I am doomed. I advise you to go for a siphon instead. The siphon? What is a siphon? I guess as much. Come with me, child. I'll show you what a siphon is. Oceane leads me over to the counter. On the counter is a asparagus that looks like it came straight from a chemistry lab. Ooh. If the coffee pour over is above appreciating the technique and skill of the barista, then the siphon is a celebration of science. The siphon was created back in the 19th century. Baristas at the time believed that boiling the coffee kills the aromas inside. The siphon solves that problem, creating a full immersion experience without directly heating the coffee grounds. Instead, it uses physical law to mix the grounds with water. Standing on the table before me is a glass spiritual bulb connected to a stand. What you are seeing here, it's the bottom half of the siphon. Here is the top half of the siphon, a glass cylinder with a connecting tube that runs down into the bottom of the spear. When water is the bottom bulb is heated. The bottom bulb is heated, water vapor is generated inside the bulb, pushing the remaining water up towards the siphon tube into the upper chamber. Once the water is in the upper chamber, we pour in the coffee grinds using a bamboo paddle. We stir it with a consistent rotation to mix it properly, allowing it to react with the water. The coffee grounds will slowly dissolve and become coffee. Stir consistently. Keep smelling the aromas to determine when the coffee is ready. Once we get the ideal flavor to come out, we remove the heat source. The water vapors tap inside the bottom cylinder. We start to condense, pushing the coffee back down into the bottom cylinder by force of gravity. And there you have it, a crisp, bright siphon coffee. Dude, I'm gonna Google all this. I don't know, you could do so many things with coffee. If the coffee grinds contain 100 different aroma elements, then a good pour over might be able to bring about 50-60 different elements in a single pour. But a siphon can normally bring out up to 80 of the 100 different aromatic flavors from a single lot of coffee grind. Wow, this coffee preparation technique is straightforward. I can remember all the steps by heart. This looks simple enough, so I don't need to be good at pouring. All I need to do is stir and stir. If it were that simple, let me show you how to brew a cup of coffee with the siphon. Watch carefully. The art of good coffee brewing is to observe and imitate. I stand there quietly, observing Osea's elegant posture while she brews her coffee. From preparing the grinds to warming up the water, her every action has its purpose. With just the right amount of effort, not a single bit of energy is wasted. It's true that with siphon coffee, you don't need to be good at pouring, but you still need to be good at one crucial thing. And what is that? You need to have a great sense of smell. The make or break of a good siphon coffee is determined by whether you know when to remove the heat source. There are phases of which flavors and aromas are released. Floral, fruity aromas are always the first to be released because their particles are the smallest. So, if you're looking for coffee with rich smells of fruits and flowers, then you better remove the heat source earlier when the smell is strong. If you heat it for longer, then the floral and fruity smells will start to disappear, replaced by mellow sweet flavors like herbs and vanilla. And if you continue to heat it, you'll start to get a pungent, roasty flavor. Lastly, if you heat it for too long, the coffee will start to smell ashy, which means your coffee is already burnt. I hear a faint bubbling sound popping up in the coffee, while the gas flames subtly make their hissing sounds. A soft ambience complements the melodic piano in the background. Osea, with a spatula in her hand, stirs the coffee with even, consistent motion. All her focus is on the coffee itself. Her nose is action as she sniffs for aromatic particles that are followed out in abundance. She keeps gazing at the coffee, her face slightly fogged by the steam of vapors pouring out from the surface. Stir, stir, stir. Stir, stir, stir. Come closer. Come closer. Yes, I want you to come closer. I think that's gonna be the joke for her. She's always gonna have a different voice. It could be manly or depending on how she talks. If it's feminine when she's talking so softly, and manly when she's angry. Let's see. I want you to come and smell the coffee. See if you could tell me when I should remove the heat. Oh, that makes sense. I walk closer and find myself only a couple inches away from each other. Osea quickly glances at me, but says nothing and turns her eyes back to the siphon. The coffee beans I'm using has a signature pungent flavor to it. You should be able to identify cinnamon as well as a slight vanilla flavor. Your job is to identify the smell at the right moment and tell me when I should remove the heat source. Removing the heat source too soon or too late means that we won't be able to get the most out of our coffee beans. Understood? I find myself once again transported to the coffee dreamscape. So, what do we have here? Flowers. Oh, see, stop. No, not yet. Not yet. We gotta have the stupid maple syrup. Close enough. Stop. Not yet. Vanillas and cinnamon. Stop. That was easy. Nice job with the signature flavor note of cinnamon and vanilla, with some almond flavors in the background as well. I have to say I'm impressed. You do have a strong sense of smell. I think I got the gist of it. I should be able to practice by myself when I get back to the coffee house. One more thing. Do you say you have trouble performing caffeine? Which caffeine were you trying out? The fire caffeine. Everyone keeps telling me I just need to feel the heat inside my palms. I don't get it. There's nothing. No heat, no spark. Sounds like you haven't been told about Victoria's legacy. Yes, I have. Aha! I knew you would say that. In fact, I know the story. The story about Blanca Flor and how she found redemption and forgiveness through the power of the fire caffeine. Blanca Flor's stories about redemption and forgiveness? Just what are you talking about? Shit. Oh yeah, she's angry at me. Hold on. Blanca's Flor fire caffeine story is about revenge and hatred. Revenge and hatred? It's hardly about that. Blanca Flor repented and stopped the massacre. What are you Oh, no, she's not angry. What are you talking about? Oh, I get it now. You were told the kids' version. The kids' version? Yes, the version with the happy ending. You know, with lollipops and Skittles and unicorns. Are you telling me there's more to the story? You're telling me the story I've heard isn't the true one? Were you told how Princess Victoria managed to convince Blanca Flor to stop her massacre? And after that, the Praetorian army miraculously decided to retreat and promised not to be enemies with Princess Victoria again? Use your brain and tell me how ridiculous that sounds. I can't believe you believe that. How old are you? Wait, if that wasn't what happened, then what actually happened? Here, I'll show you. Fuck, I'm gonna have to read this again. Before me is another picture book. The book is smaller than the one that Lisa read to me. But the title of the book is called A Dark History of Victoria's Legacy. Even the book title gives me the creeps. Why are you staring at me? Aren't you going to read it to me? Are you serious? Don't you know how to read? I'm not going to read your book to you. Read it yourself. Alright. I flip to the chapter about Blanca Flora and her fire caffeine. I look at the picture. It is not the picture of Princess Victoria confronting Blanca Flora anymore. Instead, it is a scene where the Praetorian soldiers were being burned under the fire caffeine. My heart shivers. I start reading the passages. Alright, I don't have to do fucking Elisa's voice. I remember when we were reading that shit. That shit was like, okay. There once lived a king who ruled the kingdom of Itza in the forests of the Mayan jungles. He was a cunning ruler who manipulated his subjects with plots and intrigued. He instilled fear amongst the people, and people feared him. Surrounding the kingdom of Itza were the Maiwas and the Uzsur, the sister kingdoms of the Mayan people. For centuries, they fought amongst themselves for land, slavery, and resources. Until a greater threat came overseas, the Praetorian Empire. The Praetorians burned villages, enslaved natives, raped and killed along the way. They were unstopped with their powerful company army, which contained free manipulation of wind, earth, and water. The three kingdoms decided to set their differences and form an alliance against the Praetorians. The king of Itza set off to the Maiwas to meet with the other kings to discuss their alliance. However, unknown to the Itza king, the other two kingdoms have already surrendered to the Praetorians. On the second night of the Itzas arrived at Maiwa, he was captured and killed. His head was hanged on the city gates for all to see. Upon hearing about the king's death, his subjects were long unhappy with the king's brutality, rebelled, and stormed the palace. The king's family was brutalized, sacrificed to the old gods. The kingdom of Itza was no more. That could have been the end of the kingdom of Itza, but unknown to the traders at Maiwa and Urza, that the king of Itza had cunningly stole the heart of princess of Maiwa. The king had already had 48 wives, but used his wits and charms. He lured the princess into his bed chambers. Her virginity was taken. Soon, the princess found herself pregnant with the king's child. The Maiwas were furious and ordered her execution. But the princess escaped into the mountains, where she gave birth to a girl whose hair reflected light blue hue, like the clear water on the bright sunny beaches with the whitest of sand. She named her Blanca Flora. Get some water in this bitch. While the princess and her child hid in the mountains, the other two kingdoms' independence were short-lived, for the treacherous Praetorians reneged on their promises and invaded the other two kingdoms. Men were enslaved, villages pillaged, women were raped, and children were sent to adopted families so they would forget about their heritage and culture. And soon, nearly everyone forgot about the princess and her child. 15 years later, a soul ship sailed towards the shores of the Mayan lands, which had been turned into cacao and coffee plantation. Its native population turned into slaves and servants, with disease spreading uncontrollably across the once populous hinterlands. Inside the soul ship that landed on the shores was Princess Victoria, who had just escaped the Atlantic Ocean from the pursuing fleet of Praetorians. They pursued her high into the Mayan mountain range, where once uninhabited lands were converted to coffee plantation. When the Praetorians thought they had the princess cornered, they encountered a girl who had hair the color of the blue sky. Before they could understand what was happening, her hair started to glow with a red hue like a raging fire. They felt the grass heating up, The birds dashed up into the sky, desperately trying to escape from the trees. The shadows of the trees disappeared, made way for a blue flare that engulfed the grass and weeds. There was no escape. The whole Victorian forces were swallowed by the raging flames and fires of Caffeine. Flames of the fire Caffeine, by its creator, Blancafleur, who had only known hatred and revenge ever since childhood. Her mother had told her the story of her father, of their people's betrayal and the treachery of the Praetorians. Now finally coming of age, she was destined to seek her revenge against those who wronged her and her family. As Blancafleur helped Princess Victoria escape in return, Princess Victoria vowed to help Blancafleur get revenge against her father's enemies. On the same night, Princess Victoria and Blancafleur invaded Itza and drove the Praetorians away. Upon their victory, Blancafleur sought after perpetrators that were disloyal to her father and sacrificed them to the old gods one by one, just as they did to her family 15 years ago. The Praetorians wouldn't give up so easily. They amassed 5,000 from across the continent who marched straight into Itza. In the middle of the day, they've arrived at Itza, only to find the city deserted and empty. Corpses were still hanging on the city walls, being eaten by crows and vultures circling the misty skies. The Praetorians decided to set up camp in the city and await for the next day before starting their pursuit. However, Blancafleur and her allies returned in the middle of the night. She performed the fire Caffeine and set fire upon Itza, destroying the whole city in one huge massive flame. Her hatred and anger was real. For 15 years of humiliation and betrayal of her people led her to seek only one kind of vengeance she wanted, and that was the total annihilation of her enemies. That night, 5,000 Praetorians perished under the fire, including the traitor of Maiwa and Urza. The Praetorians lost their army on the continent overnight, and the Mayans finally gained their independence. At the break of dawn, observers have seen Blancafleur surveying the ruins, searching for any signs of life among the Praetorians. Upon seeing any survivor, she used her hot burning spear to poke holes into their hearts. Their hearts scissored upon touch the bright red steel. Melting under the raging heat, blood evaporated into the air and filled the city with a misty layer of red fog, instilling fear upon every soul that lived to tell the tale. Fucking Christ, this lady's crazy. Like, shit, man. Fuck. Don't get me wrong, I know the history of my people, the Aztecs and everything, that they were crazy motherfuckers, but still, it's just fucking crazy. And before you say anything, like, this is a game, like, Aztecs didn't have fire techniques, but no, the Aztecs used to rip open people up and take their fucking hearts out. That shit's true. Like, it's basically to sacrifice them to their gods. But still, it was fucking crazy. Anyway, that was the day that the world came to fear the creator of the fire Caffeine. Children will cry upon hearing her name. Brave men fall upon their knees, begging for mercy upon a raise of her arms, fearing her raging glare more than the actual suffering of flames that would befall them. After the night, Blancafleur made a fateful decision to accompany Princess Victoria on her journey, and she will rename herself Blanca Clearwater, which of course the name of the founder of the House of Clearwater. And that is the story of the fire Caffeine. So now you know why the fire Caffeine is the most feared of all caffeine power, the power of revenge and hatred. Wow. Just wow. This version of the story is a bit cruel, isn't it? So all 5,000 soldiers perished under the fire. Okay, before we continue, like, no shit, like, remember, like, when Eliza was telling us a story, like, 2 episodes ago, like, at first I'm like, dude, if this was an actual war, like, they would die. You know what I mean? Like, they would be dead. Like, they'll come back to the island to, like, fucking revenge and stuff. So this is the true version. I knew it wasn't that stupid fucking happy fairy tale like la-di-la-la. She's got a lot of blood on her hands. This history of Victoria is built on blood and treachery. Do you really think it was possible for Victoria to become the most powerful city-state in the world without shedding a single drop of blood? Every empire built their foundation on the suffering of others. The Victorian Empire, the West Coast states, the Kusamite Empire, and Victoria are no exception. Just have a look at those intrigues and blood spilled by the cupper houses of Victoria, and know what I say is true. The founder, Princess Victoria, and her companions have all blood on their hands, every single one of them. So now you understand why you can't perform Caffeine, because you were given the wrong version of the story. Now, as long as you believe in this version, and this version of the story to be one and only truth, then you should be able to perform Caffeine. I still believe in happy endings. Okay. Alright, your version makes more sense. Well, yeah, it kinda does. But at the same time, it's like, fuck, she's like really depressing. And like, don't get me wrong, blood was spilled for every place to be made, yes, but think about everything else that happened. We've made life better for almost everyone, you know? We try to do our best, unless you live like in places where it's like the government doesn't care about you, like North Korea. Other than that, like, your government tries hard, you know? Like, yes, we make mistakes. Like my country, America. Fuck, man, we make mistakes. And we do things where it's like we hurt people, you know what I mean? Or we do stuff that doesn't help people, but, you know, we try our best. And we have a bloody history from the day of our independence to right now in Afghanistan and Iraq, you know what I mean? It's all bloody, but at the same time, it's like, we do improvements and we help each other. Like, shit. And don't get me wrong, we can all believe in happy endings. I believe in them. Sometimes, but, you know what I mean? Anyway, before I go into a monologue, she just fucking hates them. I don't know why. Is it just me, or do you hold some resentment against the Victorian cuppers? I thought it was unwise to criticize cuppers like that. Who told you it was unwise to criticize cuppers? You can say anything you like as long as you don't insult them when they're present. Then they might challenge you to a coffee duel. But I'm not afraid of speaking my mind. Victorian cuppers are not the saints that people think they are. Well, yeah, it's like nobles. It's like fucking like the royal family. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to start a fight with a UK guy, but you gotta admit, somewhere around, like, all those royal families, even from the past, not all of them were saints. I don't know too much about the Queen. I don't know her history. I don't know what she does behind closed doors. No one does. She could be, like, really a crazy sadistic person. Maybe. Or she's just like a weird anime fan. Just imagine Queen Elizabeth II just be like, oh, I love me some My Hero Academia, some Naruto, but the people shouldn't know. I gotta stay English, even though I want to wear my My Hero Academia gloves and my Naruto headband instead of the crown. That'd be funny. You know what I mean? Queen Elizabeth with the fucking Naruto headband. Anyway, back to the thing. You might be surprised to find that many people in Victoria hold the same opinions as I do. Alright, so I should perform caffeine in front of her. In front of you. Not here, not now. Do it at home. What? You're not gonna teach me caffeine? I only promise... Okay, angry. I only promised to teach you how to brew coffee. I didn't say I was going to teach you caffeine. Besides, caffeine cannot be taught. It is an art that comes to you. You make it sound so simple, but what if I can't do caffeine before the barista test? Well, you'll find another way, but for now, I need to know your commitment. I'm committed. I will do anything to pass the barista test. I would rather you sit on it for a day before making a promise to me. What else is there? I don't have time. You need to know, once you become my apprentice, there will be no rest. You'll cry, you'll scream, and you... Fuck. You need to know, once you become my apprentice, there will be no rest. You will cry, you will scream, you will wish that you were never born. You will try to end your life, but I won't allow it, because becoming my student means that you will become a barista. You will become a barista for life, and that you're not allowed to die until you become one, understood? Yikes. You are scary. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'll think about it for a day. Fuck it. I'm not just gonna be there and be like, yes ma'am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a soldier in an army. Which, don't get me wrong. If you're a soldier in the army, kudos to you. Because you go through fucking hell for training. And when you're in combat. But I'm gonna say this. We're just making fucking coffee. We're not gonna go out there and be like, she's not gonna be like, I want you to go take that hill. Go kill the enemy. Bring me their scalps. You know what I mean? It's like, no. This is fucking coffee. I could die if I die. I could get hit by lightning. You know what I mean? It's not like I get hit by lightning or get in a car accident. She just pops out of nowhere. You cannot die. Rada. You know what I mean? I'll think about it. You know what? Let me think about it. Thought so. Let it sit for a day. If your mind is determined, then you will come back tomorrow. Alright. I get it. I'll come back later. Is there anything else you need before heading off? Give the dolphin card to Osea. No, I want to give it to Mel. No, I'm good. I walk out of Midoriya's Meoria coffee house. The streets are quiet. Even the trams are not moving, as there are barely any commuters. This atmosphere is so creepy. I should go. Where should I go to next? Okay, I'm gonna end it here. You wanna know why? Because I think that's a good place to get off. So if you liked the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the bell notification to see my stupid videos. Don't get me wrong, like, it's... I am not professional in the slightest, but I'm getting there, you know? It's practice, baby. Anyway, I hope you liked it. Anyway, hasta la vista. Adios. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.